Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today and welcome to Upstate International's uniquely Yucatecan cuisine featuring Chef Mario Canul from Mérida, Mexico, and moderated by our local chef, Sally Gillespie from Plate 108, who we've had the pleasure of cooking for us before. So glad you are joining us today. Yucatecan cuisine is a unique combination of Maya, Dutch, Lebanese, and Spanish traditions. It is full of flavor and freshness, and I hope everyone is as excited as I am to learn more about the cuisine and culture of the Yucatan. Chef Mario Canul was born in Mexico City and describes himself as Mayan Chilango. He was immersed from a very young age in Mexican cuisine among beloved aunts and grandmothers who fed him from their well-known recipes. Some of these classic recipes have been preserved thanks to Chef David Sterling's book, Yucatán, Recipes from a Culinary Expedition. David encouraged Mario to know the basics, but also to develop his own flair in the kitchen. David and Mario first uncovered secrets of the Yucatan and then all over Mexico, culminating in a second book entitled MERCADOS, Recipes from the Markets of Mexico. Chef Mario holds a degree in international tourism from the Mesoamerican University in Mexico and a master's degree in human resources. Another passion of his is photography, and his work can be seen in so many of the great photos in the two books. Chef Mario now cooks at Los Dos, a beautiful kitchen located in Mérida, Mexico. Here he shares his love of food and culture with all who are lucky enough to visit. Today we will have the opportunity to learn from this very talented chef. Our moderator, and no stranger to Upstate International, is Chef Sally Gillespie, a graduate of Clemson University and the Culinary Institute of America. During her years as a chef, she has worked for several James Beard Award and Michelin star restaurants, spanning from Napa Valley to Burlington, Vermont. She has managed restaurants, hotels, and taught collegiate-level culinary courses. Her experience in all areas of the hospitality industry has pushed her to educate others and continue to learn from all of the diverse cultures and techniques. Sally currently works at Plate 108 in downtown Greer, which I hope you will all have the opportunity to visit and experience the many wonderful programs that they offer. Please do not hesitate to ask questions at any time using the chat feature. Sally is looking for your questions and will share them with the chef. Now, it is my pleasure to turn the event over to Chef Mario.
Hi, everybody. How are you? Welcome to my kitchen at Mérida, Yucatán, Mexico, Los Dos Cooking School. It's a pleasure to have you today with us. Thank you for joining us. And today what we're going to do is working a little bit with some of the most important and particular recipes here in Yucatán. I always welcome my clients in my classes by saying that you are in Yucatán, not in Mexico. It's a very, very different area referring to the kind of cuisine that we have. As the introduction said, we have many influences from the Lebanese culture because we have a lot of immigration from there, and also Cuban, Dutch, and of course Spaniards. Many of our ingredients now that we use as a base in our cuisine are not endemic from this area. To say one, for example, is the sour orange or the Seville orange, that it could be a little bit difficult for you to get in the area where you live. But the good thing is that we can always give you a substitute for that. So these kind of ingredients now we use it a lot. For example, the sour orange is the base of most of our most particular and important recipes in this area. Okay, for today we are going to work 3 recipes that I really like and that I always offer in my classes. The first thing that we're going to do is something that we call pollo pibil, or chicken cooked in a pit. Pit means in Mayan cook underground. But because we don't have a hole in our backyard, we have to develop a method in order to get the same results in flavor and in aroma and smell what you use for that. So that's what we're gonna do as a first recipe. That chicken breast marinated in this delicious sauce that we have. One of the great things about the Yucatecan cuisine is that when I was pointing that it is very, very different from other areas in Mexico, is because how we actually add the flavors to our cuisine. In many of the areas of Mexico, and you foodies and the chef, you will know that when you follow a recipe from a cookbook or from online recipes, you have to add maybe quarter cup of sugar, 1 tablespoon of this, 1 teaspoon of that. In this area, we don't cook like that. It's of course we have to adjust all of the method, but usually what we do in order to add the flavors to our kind of cuisine is that we use something that we call recados, or seasonings. The recados in this area are the most important thing in order to have and to get the flavor to the specific recipes that we use. In this case, the chicken that we're gonna cook today is something that we call, as I said, pollo pibil. And the pollo pibil is marinated in this amazing sauce that we have from a recado rojo. A recado rojo is a seasoning that we made from a seed of the anato tree, very well brined with sour orange, garlic, and a little bit of salt. That's the actual local and very commercial kind of recado that everyone uses in this area. But as you know, every chef or every cook, they have to put a little bit of their own flavor. So that's how and what I'm gonna teach you today, how to boost and improve the flavor of these local recipes. That's the chicken breast that we're gonna have, and that's the one that we're gonna start because this is the recipe that takes a little bit more of time. Then we're gonna cook also. We're gonna work with something that we call sopa de lima, or the lime soup. The sopa de lima is a chicken broth base, and we have to cook inside some of the vegetables that we use in this area, which is the Roma tomato, white onion, and a kind of chili that we have in this area in Yucatán that we call chile dulce, or sweet chili. It's in the same family of the bell pepper, but it's not the same. It's a little bit different, the flavor. In many of the restaurants in this area, they make this mistake because this kind of chile, because it's a local chile, you can get this chile just in the markets, but not in the supermarkets. So many of the restaurants that provide or offer this recipe, when they send someone to the supermarket, they actually purchase bell pepper and change a little bit the recipe. That results in a change of the flavor, which we are not going to do today because we actually are very respectful of the real flavors. That lime soup is, as I said, goes with all these vegetables. Ones that is completely cooked and very tender, these vegetables inside of the chicken broth. Then we're going to work on a salad that we call sic de pollo, which is a salad that we made from white onion, Roma tomato, which also we have a sweet chili again, and the citrus flavor that we're gonna add is the lime. It's not the actual lime or lemon that everyone knows. It's a specific kind of citrus that we have in this area, and the scientific name is lima limeta. It's a very floral flavor and an aroma that provides the specific flavor to this kind of recipe. And finally, what we're going to use, and we're going to work for finish the event today, it's one of the most popular recipes in the school. I have some clients that they come every single year just to have this recipe again with us. It's something that we call sikilpat, and it's a pumpkin seed dip that we create from the pumpkin seed that we toast a little bit, and then we grind it in the food processor, and then we add more ingredients I'm going to show you. This is a very important recipe because it's very local. It has almost all of its ingredients are endemic, and it's very important for us because before the Spaniards arrived, we already had 3 pumpkins endemic from this area. In Yucatan and in all this area, at least we have 15 different varieties of pumpkin. But before the Spaniards arrived to Yucatan, we already had 3. One of those is the Moscato variety, which is this one, this green calabaza. Inside of this, of course, is the pumpkin seed that we're going to use. We have to dry these seeds, and then we have to toast it. This is like the most important ingredient for this recipe. Also, I don't know if you know, but this is the second ingredient most important in our nutritional facts because it's just behind the corn. In Mexico, in the entire country, we have at least 65 different types of corn. But in Yucatan, we don't get that complicated. We just use one, and it's this one. So that's the one that we're going to use. And at the end, I'm going to prepare and I'm going to show you how the recipes ends and finish, so we can serve everything and you can actually see how it needs to turn out. Okay, so let's start. So what we're going to do is first we have in here in the table, in the island that we have all our ingredients for the chicken breast. We as you can remember, I told you we are going to work with the marinating liquid first. In here we have the paste of the recado rojo that I told you. This is the annatto seed grinded with sour orange juice, garlic, and a little bit of salt. In here, this liquid is sour orange juice, and in here we have pork lard, sea salt, and this is a combination of cumin and oregano, a little bit toasted and then grinded. In here we have a couple of varieties of peppercorns, which is the Tabasco one and the pimienta gorda entera. One of the things that I want to explain is that because I'm gonna edit this just by myself, I adjust the measurements of the ingredients. The ingredient list that you have, it's for 10 portions, which is I think the best thing to do when you are offering a party for your friends or for your family. But today, I adjust all the measurements just to have a little bit of the recipe. So if you see in your ingredient list that we need, for example, 1 cup of tomatoes, and you see my bowl that is not like that, is because of this, because I adjust the measurements in order to have just a small portion today, okay? So as I was explaining, here we have all of the ingredients in order to start with this marinating paste. What we're gonna do first is all this recado, we're gonna mix it in here, in this bowl, the sour orange, the lard, the pork lard, necesito una cucharita, por favor. The pork lard. In here we have also the sea salt. And the cumin and the oregano. This other, while Elena is my helper, and she's gonna help me to actually grind all this and melt really, really well. As a suggestion, every time that you are using this kind of recados, use your hands. Because if you use your fork or a spoon, it's gonna take forever. So use your hands. All these combination of flavors, as I told you, just the recado by itself, it's already delicious. But all the other ingredients is to boost and improve the flavor in order to have a little bit more of the flavor of the Yucatán. While we do that, we need to add a little bit more of flavor to this already delicious sauce. So what we're gonna do is in here, we have peppercorn Tabasco, which is the pimienta gorda, black peppercorn, and we're gonna actually burn a little bit this garlic In Yucatan, also one of the most important flavors are that we actually burn everything. We really like the smoky flavor in Yucatan, and you are actually going to realize about that, that most of our ingredients are completely burnt, and we don't peel the actual skin of that. Okay. So we're gonna burn a little bit the actual garlic. How do you know that they're ready? It's when you actually see that are completely burned on both sides, completely black, and also that the liquid and the oil in between of the garlics start to bubble. That's when you know that the actual garlics are done. So it's not difficult. It's very easy and very fast. This will provide a little bit more of flavor to the sauce that we are already preparing. We're gonna brine the molcajete, this garlic, with the combination of those peppercorns that I showed you before. I think they're getting ready really fast. This provides a very nice smoky flavor to the recipe. I think they're done. Okay, let's turn off this thing and let's go back to the molcajete. So we have the molcajete here with these ingredients that I told you. And first we need to do is to break all the peppercorns really well. And then try to use the shape of the molcajete. It has a round shape because of a reason. What we're gonna do is exactly this. It doesn't matter if you start to see that all the paste that we're creating is starting to attach to the walls. It doesn't matter, as I said, because we are going to use a spatula to scratch really well all this paste and add it to the already delicious red paste that we have. Necesito algo para raspar esto y sacar. Okay, I think it's getting ready. And what you're gonna do is just scratch really well. As you can see, it almost disappeared, but it's in there. Just a little bit, because of the portion that we're making today. Usually, this with the portions, the adequate portion that we need is not this few. It's a little bit more, but because we're just gonna use one of the chicken breast, that's why we actually adjust a little bit the recipe. So it needs to be, as you see, a little bit thick. If it's too liquid, then you need to add a little bit more of the sticks. But I think it's getting really well. Usually also, when you're making this kind of this recipe, we need around 1 tablespoon per chicken breast of this marinated paste. So what we're gonna do now is exactly that. We're gonna really put it all. You actually realize about all these seasonings that you can actually see on the chicken breast. This is because I brine my chicken before. In the French technique, the chicken, it takes from 3 to 5 hours, the brining solution. The brining solution that I made for this kind of a recipe, I use a gallon of water with ½ cup of sugar, ½ cup of salt, then 2 teaspoons of black peppercorn, and 10 berries of the pimienta tabasco. Then I coarsely crush everything, and then I put it in the refrigerator. As I said, it takes from 3 to 5 hours when you use chicken, but I realized that I really like the flavor when I use 24 hours in the refrigerator. So this chicken breast was in the brining solutions since 1 day before, okay? So what we're gonna do now is massage the chicken breast really well to cover entirely. Try to be careful because the other area of the chicken, because today we're using a chicken breast that still has the bone and the skin for better flavor. So it needs to be like this. Then we're going to proceed to the wrapping and to add more ingredients. Okay. For that, my sous chef Elena is going to teach you how to wrap the thing while I'm explaining everything. Okay. Okay, Elena. Just going to wash my hands, guys. So what Elena is doing that right there, she's preparing the banana leaf, which is another ingredient that the Spaniards brought when they arrived to this area. So you have to place the chicken breast in a horizontal way. Then we have these ingredients, which are white onion. Place on top of that the sweet chili that I told you, Roma tomato, a small portion of epazote, just a small leaf. Epazote is the Mexican herb that we use for the beans and everything else. And this is a black peppercorn leaf, just a little bit of flavor. So you're gonna start from the bottom against the top. This is like wrapping a Christmas gift. So it's very easy, very simple, and the texture of the banana leaf is very strong, so you don't need to worry that it's gonna be broken. Then you tie a little bit with the same thing that you take out from the banana leaf when you're cleaning everything, and that's it. As you can have a lot of flavor, and the brining solution helps a lot in order to have flavor inside of the entire chicken breast. One of the things that happens in many of the restaurants that I have visited is that when you actually try a chicken breast in a restaurant, the exterior has a lot of flavor, but when you go inside and you go really close to the bone, there's not that much flavor anymore. So by brining your meats, you avoid that and you provide a lot of flavor to that. Okay, so let's follow me to the stove. And here, as I told you, we really like the smoky flavor in this area. So we're gonna provide the smoky flavor. But also, as I told you, this is a recipe that it should be cooked in a pit, meaning that it has to cook in underground. But because in the school we don't have a hole in our backyard, and I know that most of our readers and our clients in the entire world, they don't have that too. So we have to develop this method when we were writing the book of Yucatán in order to have the same results of a pit. So what I have in here is a Dutch oven, which is this has a very emotional value for me. This lodge that you see in here was from David's grandmother. So it has been here for so many years, and we still are cooking in this thing. Okay, so what we're gonna do is open this, and you realize that it's completely covered with foil paper, because this will allow us to reach the exact temperature that we need, but also to completely seal everything, and all the smoky flavor gets inside and nothing goes away. So what we're gonna do is just, as I told you, we really like the smoky flavor. So how are we gonna provide the smoky flavor to that? I don't know if you realize, but in here inside, I left a hole without the foil paper. In that hole, what we're gonna do is put some of the wood. As in this area, we use a wood that it's called Cuisine. It's an endemic local tree, but it's very, very similar to the mesquite. And the mesquite, it's available in the States and many places on the world. So you can see actually, because we were heating in advance, how it's already smoking. Look at that, all the smoke. So this will provide a smoky flavor to the recipe. So now what we're gonna put is the rack on top of that, again. We're not gonna use any water, it's just gonna be the heat and the smokiness that it will cook entirely the chicken breast. And we're gonna put the chicken breast on top of this. Now, we're gonna seal it with a lid, and we start to seal it really well with the foil paper. This will allow us to actually avoid any leaks of the smokiness, but also of the flavor. Usually, when I make this recipe, usually I have from 6 to 10 people in my classes, so you can imagine that the actual oven is completely full of wrapping chicken breast. But because of today, we're just going to use one. I think it's going to be less time. Usually, it takes 1 hour, exactly 1 hour at higher temperature. If you're a purist or you follow really well the recipes, just wait until it gets 165 Fahrenheit and it will be done. But if you don't, you need to wait until you reach 1 hour and the chicken will be completely done. So right now it's 11:27. So I will say that it will take no more than 30 minutes because it's just one chicken breast. Okay? So that's it. Let's wait until it's completely cooked. And let's continue in here. What we're gonna start to work with is the lime soup. In here we have a chicken broth base. Usually, as I told you, the recipe that you have, the ingredient that you have, the ingredient list is for 10 portions. That means that you need 2.5 liters of chicken broth. In this occasion, we have a little bit less of that. And it's already very hot and boiling. So what we're gonna do is put inside the sweet chili, the Roma tomato that is need to be completely chopped and drained, because if you don't drain the tomato, it will change the color of the lime soup, and we don't need that. And finally, we're gonna add a little bit of the white onion. And then what we're gonna do is put higher temperature for maybe 10 or 15 minutes until the actual vegetables are completely tender. Okay? At the end of this lime soup, we're gonna add the specific flavor of this recipe, which is the actual juice of the lime that I told you, the lima limeta. As you know, we need to actually wait until the boiling aspect of the soup has to end. Because if you add the citrus before that, the flavor will change a little bit. So once that is completely tender, every single vegetable and ingredient inside of the chicken broth, we turn it off, wait maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and then we add the actual lima juice that we have in here. So we are just gonna wait for that. And in here, also we are already heating in advance our cast iron skillet, because we're gonna roast and toast a little bit our pumpkin seed. The pumpkin seed that I told you, that is very, very important in this area. And sí, la pepita, por favor. Which is this one. This is the pumpkin seed already taken out from the pumpkin and clean. So what we're gonna do is just heat it a little bit. You need to wait until it starts to actually make a little bit of noise. This will start to sound like popcorn. You need to actually change a little bit the shape of the pumpkin. And when you purchase these at the market, most of the pumpkin seeds are completely flat. With the heat, we actually gonna provide a little bit of the smoky flavor, but also to actually give a little bit of texture in order to have a little bit of crunchiness. This is a very, very popular recipe in the cantinas in Mexico. Are you familiar with the concept of a cantina? A cantina in Mexico is like tapas in Spain. You go to these small places and you order a beer or any alcoholic beverage. And after that, the waiter start to come to the table and stack you with snacks, a lot of snacks. The more beer and the more alcohol that you order, the more food that is gonna arrive to the table. So in the price of your beer, it's included the actual food. So this is a recipe that in every single cantina you can actually get it. And it's very, very, very nice. This goes with real corn totopos. And it's getting there, so it's getting hot. I'm gonna wait a little bit until it starts the sound and it starts to change the color of the pumpkin seed. And then also all these seeds we're gonna finish to clean a little bit in a strainer, and then we're gonna work in a food processor to completely make it in a powder. I'm gonna explain a little bit after that when we are doing that, because it's a very you have to be there. You cannot go to check your email or your Facebook, because once that you start the grinding, you need to wait right before the separation of oil start. Because if you wait a little bit more, then the powder turns out into a paste. And for this recipe, we don't need a paste. It's just the powder that we're going to use, okay? So the actual shape is starting to change. You can actually see that they're more a little bit more fatty, puffy, and start to be a little bit more burned, most of them. Okay. This process is really fast, and it's already smelling delicious. Okay, I think it's done. Elena, el colador, por favor. Okay, so we turn it off. The heat, what we're gonna do is to finish to clean with a strainer. By doing this, all the excess of skin falls down, and you can actually get really clean pumpkin seed. Just maybe 1 or 2 minutes by doing this movement, and it will be done. Okay, so now we're gonna follow with the next steps, and in here we're gonna have the actual food processor, and we're gonna start to process really, really well the pumpkin seed. Thank God that we now have the food processor, because in the old days, the Mayan ladies used to make this recipe with the hands and a piece of stone. You can actually imagine how intense labor was that. I'm going to explain what it's going to. Sorry?
Chef, we have a quick question.
Yes?
One is, how do you get the hulls off of the pumpkin seeds?
When you actually purchase this, because this is a local ingredient, when you purchase this ingredient in the market, you have to go to the market and ask for pumpkin seed clean. Because in this area, we have so many pumpkin seed that if you arrive to the market and ask for pumpkin seed, they're gonna ask you clean, green, dry, salty, blah, 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 blah. So when you have the actual, if you don't have a market that provides this kind of ingredient already clean, what you need to do is cut by the half the pumpkin that I show you, take out all the seeds and let it dry to the sun.
Okay.
Maybe for 3 or 4 hours. Once that is completely dry, then you can work with that.
And another question we had, chicken stock that you started, was that for the soup or is that for this, I can't pronounce very well, but is that for the pumpkin seed dish?
No, the chicken broth that I start, it is for the lime soup. It is for the lime soup. It's the base of the lime soup. We are preparing just the chicken broth and the ingredients, the vegetables that goes inside of the lime soup. I did that because I need to be tender before I add the other ingredients. So that's why I combine the steps of the ingredients. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to explain a little bit what's going to happen in this step, so you see and you realize what you need to actually look for that. Okay, so once that I start this food processor, you won't hear me because it makes a lot of noise. So what's going to happen is that it will turn out into a powder immediately. You need to wait until it's completely powdered. But as I told you, you need to stop before separation of oils start to happen. How do you know that the separation of oils start to happen? It will start to steam really fast, transform into a powder. But after 1 or 2 minutes, you will see that the velocity of the powder on the top, it's going to try to low down, and then from time to time, it's going to try to spin on the other direction. That means that the separation of oil will start to happen right now. That's exactly the moment that we need to stop, because if we actually wait, that's what happened. It's going to turn out into a paste, and for this specific recipe, we don't need a paste. Okay? So let's start. So you see that it's completely powdered already. So be very vigilant of this area, because it's going to start to low down the velocity of the spinning, and then it will try to spin on the other direction. That's exactly when we're going to stop. Let's wait a little bit. One of the, as I told you, this is that's it. You see? Stop and try to spin on the other direction. So we already have our powder in here. I'm going to put it in this bowl. Okay. And in here we have other ingredients that we're going to add to that. In here we have white onion, that it doesn't look white anymore because we charred the onion really well and we didn't peel the skin. And then we chop it into these small dice. In here we have coriander or cilantro, Mexican cilantro. And in here we also have chile habanero. The habanero is the local chile, the most picante chile that we have in Mexico. And in Yucatán, I don't know if you know, but we are the biggest producers of chile habanero in the entire world. So the chile habanero is a very, very important ingredient in our table. In fact, many of the Yucatecan people said that if you don't have chile habanero sauce or chile habanero chop in your table, your food is not done. Okay, so what we're gonna do is just mix all that in here. Onion, the cilantro, and also the chile habanero. Try to use a spatula or gloves when you are using the chile habanero, because if you forget that and then you scratch your eyes or any part of your body, you will regret it. Then we're just gonna mix really well this. As you can see, it doesn't look like a dip yet, right? It's very powdery. It doesn't have the texture and the consistency of a dip. So what we're gonna do in order to add and provide that texture to this recipe, we have other ingredients in here in order to make a sauce that we're gonna add to that. In here we have another portion of chicken broth, sour orange juice, Roma tomato, also, again, charred, very black, and we didn't peel any of the skin. And garlic. The garlic also is very charred, completely burned. That will provide that smoky flavor that, as I told you, we really, really like in this area. So in here, in our blender, we're gonna add all the chicken broth. the sour orange, tomato, and finally the garlic. And we're gonna liquefy this really well until we have the sauce. Okay. So this is the only tricky part of this recipe. In order to get the actual flavor, I didn't change the ingredients measurement for this because we need to actually get this kind of flavor. So all these ingredients that I show you is the quantity of ingredients that you need in order to have this specific flavor. But we are not going to use the entire amount of this sauce. The entire amount of ingredients is in order to get the specific flavor of the sauce, but we are not going to use the entire amount of the sauce. We're just going to need 125 milliliters, which I realize is exactly what is left after we fill this little cup. This is 125, and this is what we're going to use. So we're going to add this to the mixing texture of the pumpkin seed, and then we're going to just mix it. Mix it really well to provide air to that. Now it's starting to look like a dip. This is a very, very healthy recipe. Many people love this, and it's so delicious that, for example, I have friends that they actually don't like this recipe, but when they try the recipe from Los Dos, they actually start to like it. It's not just a show off. I'm sorry, but it's really, really good. Okay, so I think it's done. And the final step to this is just to add a little bit of flavor by providing ¿dónde está la canela? ¿No la encontraste? You add a little bit of Mexican canela at the very end, maybe 5 or 10 minutes before you serve it to provide a little bit more of flavor. And that's it. We're gonna serve this in a little bowl, and this goes with real corn chips. Okay? So that's it with the secret part. Let's see how it's going with the lime soup. Well, it's getting really fast, getting ready. You can actually take a look in there. So what you need to wait is until the green of the chile, it turns out into an olive green. It's getting there really, really fast. I will think maybe 1 or 2 minutes more and it will completely done. So that's it. So what we're gonna do now is start with the actual sic de pollo, which is the salad that we're gonna use also to put on top of the lime soup. Okay, so I think with this, maybe 1 or 2 minutes more. Elena, en un momentito, 1 o 2 minutos, me apagas la sopa. So now in here we have all the ingredients for our salad that we call sic de pollo. Sic also is a Mayan word that we use for this kind of recipes. In other parts of Mexico, what we call it is salpicón. I don't know if you already have heard about that name. It's a very citrusy salad that we use with these all these ingredients. So in here we have cabbage, very well sliced. We have pollo asado. This pollo asado is chicken also, but as you can see, it's kind of dry. It's something that we call like that, pollo asado. Is the exactly same chicken breast that we actually did together, but in this case, instead of be cooked in an oven like that, we actually grill it. because we need it very, very dry, so we can actually later, we actually shred. So we have the chicken breast, and it's red because we actually use that same paste that we use with the recado rojo. We have radish, we have purple onion, sour orange juice, cilantro, we have chile habanero again, and this is one of the other recados that we use in this area. Let me explain a little bit of this. In Yucatan, we have recados that are paste and recados that are powders. Usually when you are using or you are preparing meats, you have to use the paste kind. When you are trying to use for salads and for soups, you need to use the powder one. This is something that we call recado para escabeche or pickling. This is a combination of black peppercorn, allspice, we have clove, cumin, and we have also oregano. So all those flavors are in this little powder. And these powders and this paste you can actually get in the market in Yucatan everywhere, because there are ingredients from this area. So this recipe of the sic de pollo, it's very, very easy. The only tricky part is the labor of chopping everything. But once that you have chopped all these ingredients, it's just to mix it really well. So we want to start with the cabbage, the radish, the purple onion, cilantro, the habanero chile, the powder I told you, the escabeche, a little bit of the chicken, and then we're going to shower those with all that juice and mix it and toast it really well. This is going to be on top of the lime soup, providing a little bit more of flavor. And the lime soup is one of the most popular recipes in Yucatan. Also, as well as the siquipad, you can actually get it in every single Yucatecan restaurant. It's a very, very nice recipe that we have in this area. Very flavorful. And I think that's it. Okay. Excellent. So now let's see how it's turning out our lime soup. Okay. So you can actually see that the chili is already well cooked. So we're gonna turn it off. So what we're gonna do is preparing the sic de pollo in the plate. Okay. So now what we're gonna do is el cilantro lo tocaste. Okay. Pásame el cilantro. Okay, so now we're gonna place the sic de pollo in here, so we can actually. Sácame la sopa, por favor. En un tarrito. Okay, so what I use is this little bowl, and I fill it with the sic de pollo. And I put it on the center of the table, of the plate, I'm sorry. We're gonna decorate with a little bit of cilantro, chop really well. And then we're gonna pour the lime soup. Ponle la lima, Elena, la lima. So this is the actual how we are gonna serve the plate, and Elena is preparing the actual lime soup already with the citrus that we already add. Ya con eso, Elena, es un poquito nada más. And it's gonna be ready really, really soon. Tráemelo, Elena, tráemelo. Okay. So all the vegetables already cooked. We're gonna decorate a little bit around this. So you have the vegetables and the chiles and the onions completely cooked. And then we're gonna add the lime soup. And we're gonna end with one slice, saca el pollo, with one slice of the limeta, like this. This is the lime soup. This is how it needs to turn out in your home. You see that it was very, very easy, very, very fast. Once that you actually finish with all the chopping aspect of all these ingredients, it turns out to be very, very well. A variation of this recipe, you can actually serve chilled. You need to prepare first the chicken broth with all those vegetables, and then you put it in the refrigerator overnight. The next morning, you get rid of all the fat that is covered on top of the liquid, and then you can serve it chilled. In Mexico, the chilled soups are not that usual, are not that common. We are not very used to that kind of food or presentation. So that's why it always goes hot. In this case, I prepare it hot, but you can actually do that variation, as I told you, and serve it chilled for places that are really, really hot. In Mexico, I don't know why, but even that it's really, really hot in some areas, we really like the soups and as we call caldos. Okay, so our lime soup is ready. Let's take out all these from our point of view. And ya puedes abrir la pechuga de Elena para que lo vean cómo se va. Okay, so now what we have in here, this is the chicken breast already cooked, and Elena is going to show you how to uncut the actual wrapping and get rid of the banana leaves so you can enjoy just the chicken breast. Okay, Elena, you can cut the strings with the scissor. And you just open the actual banana leaf on top of your plate. Excelente. In many restaurants, you can actually eat it with the banana leaves, but the banana leaves are not eatable. So it turned out like this. And you can actually use, for example, some of the pickled onions to serve the you can actually use a lot of the pickled onions that we have in this area. What I do for this recipe is purple onion. You slice the purple onion in julienne. You marinate that onions in sour orange juice and a little bit of salt, and that's it. It goes really well in here. Now what we're gonna do is prepare the actual sickle pack, which is, the sickle pack is already in here. And the only thing that we actually gonna need is real corn chips. So the best way to eat this is like that. Is in many people have these weird suggestions. I have families that sometimes they actually taste this and they say that is like peanut butter. Like they will love to eat it in a bread, but it's not like that. We actually really like it with real corn chips. So if you actually are able to get real corn tortillas from a factory or from wherever, what you need to do is cut in quarters that tortilla and then fry in this in oil. I would suggest 1 part of oil and 1 part of pork lard. Fry it a little bit until they're completely crispy, and that's it. You actually can enjoy these recipes. As you can see, they were really fast, very easy to get, and most of the ingredients are available. And the substitutes, as I told you, for the sour onion, for the sour orange is 1 part of grapefruit and 1 part of sweet orange. Okay.
What did you say the onion was marinated in?
The onions that you can use in order to go with the chicken, you can just slice your onions in julienne, put it in a bowl. And depending on the quantity of onions, if you use, for example, a whole onion, I would say like a cup of sour orange juice, and 1 teaspoon of sea salt, and a little bit of black peppercorn coarsely crushed. And that's it. You let it marinate that onion at least for 25 to 40 minutes, and then serve it.
Excellent.
Okay, guys, so that's it. These are the 3 recipes that I was going to show you today. I hope that you did enjoy the cooking with us, and hopefully we can actually receive you here at Los Dos Cooking School. Thank you very much.
Do you mind repeating what you put in the chicken brine?
Sorry?
In the brine for the chicken?
Yes.
What were the ingredients for the brine?
For what were the ingredients?
Yes.
The ingredients for the brine solution is 1 gallon of cold water. You need to cool your water before you add any of the ingredients. Then you're going to use 1/2 cup of sugar, 1/2 cup of salt, 2 teaspoons of black peppercorn, and 10 berries of allspice, coarsely crushed. All that you add it to the water, to the gallon of water, and put it in your refrigerator. Once that it's completely cool, the water, then you put your chicken breast inside of that solution and wait at least 5 hours. But I realized that it gets really better if you wait for 24 hours complete.
Do you mind cutting the chicken open so we can see it?
Of course, of course. Pásame un cuchillo para acá. You see, very well cooked.
Beautiful.
And it's very, very juicy inside of that. It is because of the brining solution. And I'm gonna try it.
Perfect.
Excellent. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you. One more question. I've seen the pumpkin seed dip before in a restaurant in New York, and it was thinner. Some restaurants thin it out a little bit, or is it usually that they have that thickness?
What happened is that this is because of quantity.
Okay.
In the restaurants, usually it's like a snack. In the cantinas, it's even more like a snack. So one of the problems with this recipe is that the most important ingredient is the most expensive one. So in the cantinas, they produce massive quantities, and they prefer to use more of the sauce that I showed you instead of the pumpkin seed. So that results in a very liquidy texture and consistency. But the ideal consistency needs to be like this.
Okay, thank you. That's very informative.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions for Chef? Just waiting to see if I see any more. Your kitchen is absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Gorgeous.
You're very welcome to visit us whenever you can.
Absolutely. Once this is all over and we can travel, I will absolutely do that because it looks beautiful and your food looks phenomenal.
Yeah, you know, I was very eager to have this kind of class because I was getting very crazy without cooking in my kitchen. We have been closed since February, since this start, and because we are based in tourism, well, no one can travel to Mexico so far, so we are having a really bad time. Mm-hmm. And I'm just missing my cooking classes.
Absolutely. All small businesses, I think in all countries and states right now are struggling. So anyone out there, just make sure to order from your local restaurants if they're doing takeout, and, you know, try and support all the local businesses because they're the ones who are.
Yes, really exactly. Because, you know, the big companies, they don't have any problem. The normal real people is the one that are struggling with all these kind of nightmare that is happening right now.
And those are the restaurants that use the best ingredients and have the recipes passed down from families. So that's
totally true. Yeah, in fact, for example, this morning when I went to pick up some of the missing ingredients to the market, many of the stalls are completely closed. And this is exactly because of that, because, you know, people are not coming to the market because of the health safety regulations, and these people is losing all their sales, and it's really bad. Just in Mérida, for example, we already closed, I think the last count was 450 business of food. It's really bad. And just this week, Sorry?
Oh, nope, I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. Just in this, on this week, they restart some part of the economy and the industry, and let's hope that it's getting more tourism this year. We already trying to develop more things in order to be attractive to the people who's going to travel to Mexico.
Mm-hmm. Well, we will definitely spread the word. Do you mind showing everyone just a little tour of your kitchen and the beautiful dining room with the painted walls?
Of course. Okay, let me explain a little bit about the entire. If you want, I can show you the entire house.
I think the kitchen and the dining room are good.
Okay, so this house is from 1852. It's a colonial house that David Sterling and his partner purchased in 2001 as an investment. And David just had the idea to have this house in order to rent it for foreigners to spend some of the time in Yucatán. But with the passage of the time, because he was the one who designed everything, every single aspect of design of this house, the floor, the tiles, the murals, the kitchen, every single thing, it was visualized by David. David was more, besides that he was a great chef, his background was in art design. So that's how he actually got with this house. So this mural is like if you're standing in the center of the main square in Yucatán, in Mérida, in the city. You can actually see the north with all the initial archaeological sites. You can actually see the cathedral, the Montejo, which was Uxmal, which is another archaeological site. Then the observatory was a local artist. We have David saying hello here to immortalize him.
Wow.
And his partner on the other side is hiking. And as you can see, all the floor tiles is original from the house, and we have some of the best artisans in to reproduce this kind of model of the house. The kitchen also is all his design. It's a very comfortable island where we actually chop everything and put mise en place, all that. We have a couple of cabinets in this area that provide us space to save all our plates and things that we need. In here we have all the area with all our appliances, our ovens, our microwave, our refrigerator, our stove. All the cabinets in below is where we have for our skillets and everything, all the food and all that. And this is our kitchen. And one of the features that I really like is where we
Stunning.
Many of these things are from all places of Mexico, copper from Oaxaca. And all the wood is cedar, which is one of the hardwoods that we have in this area. And one of the things that I want to show you is our proud. We are very, very proud to have 2 medals of the James Berg Foundation.
Wow, that's incredible. Congratulations, that's amazing. That's a huge honor.
It is one is for the best cookbook of the year and best international cookbook for the Yucatán book in 2015. Wow. Thank you.
Amazing, huge honor. Well, thank you so much, Chef, for the tour and for sharing those incredible recipes. I know I'm eager to get there as soon as we can travel again. Start my video. Okay, hi, here we are. So I just wanted to thank you, Chef Mario. Upstate International wants to thank you for cooking and sharing your cuisine with us, and also the audience for participating in today's event.
You're very, very welcome.
Of course. And please join the Public Affairs Council update the South Carolina Alliance and the European American Chamber of Commerce on September 24th from noon to 1:30 p.m. for their next event on the supply chain series. And for more information or to register, just visit the website at upstateinternational.org. Thank you again, Chef. What an incredible experience. This is definitely a cuisine that, you know, we don't know a lot about, so it's so nice to have someone explain it to us and show us a family recipe and recipes that have been passed down, and someone with your experience to give us your knowledge. So thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Very, very welcome. I really enjoyed my class with you guys.
Wonderful.
Fantastic.